Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I am delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident regicide specialist of the pod, DL.
Death to the King.
How are you, mate?
Attica. What is Attica from?
I'm not 100% sure.
Attica. Don't they
it's
yell
a
Attica?
thing, though.
I'm Googling that right now.
You Google
Attica.
it right now.
Who yells Attica? Anyway, Death to the King.
Death to the King and
We
all of those
believe
things.
in Republic.
Guys, if you hear any noise in the background, that's because the resident feline of the podcast is trying to get in the room. So don't worry about it. We might be joined by a special feline guest. We'll call it a podcats.
Yeah, we won't because
It's a thing.
You'll die.
I made it a thing. Yes, I will die. Absolutely. How you been, DL? What you been up to?
I've been good, man. I've been
Regiciding all over the place?
Yeah, killing kings. We don't believe in them in America.
I can see why.
I actually do not agree with taxation without representation.
I'm 100% with you on that.
I'll tell you what.
Please.
The Queen is still taxing me here.
She's
and
dead,
I don't
so
feel
she's
represented.
Not. She's definitely dead,
Whatever.
so she's not.
The Henry. Is it Henry now?
No.
Who is it? Charles?
Yeah, there you go. You
One
got
of
there
these
in the end.
names.
You got
one
there
of
in the
these
end.
fucking old motherfuckers out there
Doddery.
taxing me without representation.
I hate it. I hate every second of it.
Can't believe it. This cat is yumpy.
He's real jumpy tonight. Hey?
Yeah, dude. What have I been up to? Well, you know.
Oh, we've been up to stuff together.
We've done a lot. We've eaten a lot. We've had a lot of food. You've had a birthday couple weeks.
You're making it last. I didn't ask for this. You know I don't like all this spotlight. Stop it. You know I hate this.
So we did Mark Normand.
Comedian.
Yeah, he's a comedian. He's
awkward. I love him.
You think he's awkward?
Yeah, he's got this.
I think
weird
his delivery
shtick.
is just like very like.
I think it's a shtick he has. I think he
Yeah.
it's the way he moves and like he's very like.
It's his comedy persona.
Yeah,
for
totally.
sure.
It's like a robot. Like he's got that like jankiness to him. Very fun. Yeah, he does. He does the
Does
fist
this little
in the air
fist
a lot.
in the air like yay.
Mark Normand, yeah, he's kind of like one-liners, but like with a bit of a through line with some of them. I quite like him. He's not like a story comedian.
It's kind of like a monologue that
Yeah,
bounces everywhere, but isn't like about anything.
I didn't think about it that way.
Like
That's
it does
so right.
feel like he's just monologuing.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah, no, not in a bad way.
I mean, we've talked about this. I love comedy when it's more like through storyline, and it's a long form story that you go on a journey and you go on like 20 different side like notes. You take a route left for no reason, but then eventually you come back to the main story, and it's like the final joke culminates the whole story. That's my favorite kind of comedy.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find nowadays.
I like comedy when it's funny, personally. But you
So
can,
not
you can
this
take all
podcast.
your theories and
Highbrow
storytelling
podcasting, yeah.
and just make it funny. And
To be fair, absolutely. The guy we saw first was an Australian dude, and he was absolutely awesome.
he's a bit bogan.
He came on, and I thought he was going to be real bad.
I'm fat.
Yeah,
What
that
did he
was
say?
like his first words.
And poor.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, dude.
I was like,
What
yeah,
else?
we could see both of those things.
What do you got going for you? You definitely you dress like both of those things.
Yeah, I mean, are you funny? Because if you are, that kind of negates both of the last two.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It
Yeah,
was a
and
lot
more
of fun.
theater. It's good.
We should absolutely do more comedy. I feel like
Yeah, I'm
we
going again
don't-
next week.
we don't do enough of that.
Yeah.
Where are you seeing next week?
We got like tickets to this open. It's not really an open mic. It's like a place where they have reoccurring comics, but
Right.
it's like a local thing. We got it for a buddy to do for his birthday again.
Regular stand-up.
Yeah,
I like that.
but
That's
it's
awesome.
not like a named. Like, it could be bad, could be good. I don't know. We'll see. It's cheaper than the last one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bang for your buck. I'm sure you'll get more, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple Akis.
We
Some
need to take more advantage of Sydney Comedy Week when it rolls around. Like,
Yeah.
you just got to buy like a bunch and hope for the best.
I'm sure Comedy Week's got a lot of good comedians. They've got like a lot of good comedians. It's like it's a pretty famous
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
I think
My favorite one was I used to do Edinburgh Fringe Festival a lot, which is feels kind of like the original comedy festival.
Yeah, because it's English.
Yeah, of course.
Everything
No, but
English
it's
is
actually
the
Scottish.
original.
I'll have you know, that's
Whatever.
not English. It's British though, and we're going to be talking about that today. But effectively, we saw a bunch of weird stuff up there, including one which had the weirdest name of all time, and we went because we were like, "This is so weirdly named. We just have to see what it is."
The guy's name was weird.
No, as in like the name of the show we went to. This is a comedy show, remember? And it was literally called The Lolocost. Now, I feel like that's hard to get away with.
Well, I mean, Only a comedian would try.
Only a comedian would try.
Yeah, like it's not like a politician's game. Like,
hey guys, if you want to hear us chatting shit about our days, feel free to stick around. There will be time codes in the description though. You can jump around, skip to the main topic, skip to the different parts. We got some fun bits of stuff to catch up on.
yeah, we do. And pass on the pod. We need 5-star.
Need that 5-star, baby.
We are without many.
This podcast is like a hot potato, some might say.
We are without many, but it's obviously
You're getting Shakespearean already on me. I love it.
highbrow. So
None of this is highbrow. None of it will ever be highbrow. The closest we got was when friend of the show Reeks was on, and even that, we managed to drag him down to our level.
yeah, I
which
think that was
never
the
thought I'd be able to
Wi-Fi.
do.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna blame that in the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi dragged us down.
Dear. DL, what have you been up to, buddy? What's been happening in your geeky sphere?
Beyond, seeing Mark Normand, which was, 1/4 of Protect Our Parks. If you don't know, Joe Rogan's podcast with Mark Normand was a great time. But
I'll have
beyond
to check that out.
well, yeah, you should. It's quite funny. They just get really fucked up and talk shit. They literally just get hammered.
I mean, that sounds exactly like what we should be
Pretty
doing.
funny. It's and just a bunch of comedians. What else, dude? It took me like 3 weeks, but I finally got through the first episode of Sweet Tooth season
First
2.
episode.
And I think if that's any context, I just don't know if I'll go to the second.
Wow.
3 weeks for an hour long of television.
So
Gail and I kept looking at each other like, surely we're on episode 4 by now. It was like 30 minutes into the first episode, and we just kept going back. It's like, that's not a good sign for the show.
So you were watching like 10 minutes and turning it off.
I don't know. It felt much. I feel like
It's actually a 7-hour
I feel
episode.
like it was like a time vortex, bro. I don't know, but it felt like a Christopher Nolan movie. I was like, surely we're done. It's like, no, it's the beginning.
You were in a
Or is it
Christopher
the
Nolan
end?
movie watching a show, so as in like your time was dilated.
Dude, it felt like time was moving
That's
at a fucking
hilarious.
snail's pace.
So you're not going to finish this series.
I don't think, if that's any indication.
But you liked the first series, if I remember correctly.
It was all right. Yeah, it was. This is definitely. I mean, it's hard to get over the little kid animals.
Are they weird?
There's some of them like the costume design is just so bad,
Really? That's interesting.
like terrible,
Huh.
like shockingly bad, like worse than like a Disneyland outfit. Like
Wow.
Goofy is like it's like worse than that.
Are they really? I'll have to check these out.
Dude.
Send me some pictures. I want to check that
I'll
out.
send
We'll
it
post
to
them on the
you.
Instagram so you
There's
guys can
plenty
see
of
too.
crappy ones.
I've been a bit
Anyway.
crappy on Instagram recently.
So-
Speaking of crappy though,
Oh, great.
I did a thing this week which was actually a lot of fun, right? So I actually guested on another podcast.
Nice.
It's called the Superhero Cinephiles. The
Nice.
episode isn't going to be coming out for a little while, so I'll re-plug this later down the line. However, I did watch the movie that we talked about. Now,
Yes.
you can guess it's about superhero movies or TV shows. Fantastic. Really good premise. Perry's a great bloke. However, I thought it would be funny to pick something shit so that we would have a bit of fun and a bit of banter about it.
You
So,
do like to do that.
in my wisdom,
Yeah.
I chose that we should talk about Thor: Love and Thunder.
Why would you do that to yourself twice?
Exactly. I don't know. And it was a lot of fun breaking it down with Perry. We chatted a lot of rubbish about that movie and got on a lot of tangents, as you do. But hindsight, I didn't like that movie.
But we already knew that. Go check out our pod on it. But
Exactly.
you really do like to put yourself through.
I like making fun of things.
Not
You
a
know
lot
I
of fun.
do. You know I do. Like I'm going to do today. What else have you been up to, buddy?
The Little Mermaid.
Oh, holy hell. You went to see
Go
that.
See that in theaters. Yeah, it's a rough week this week for my show. I'm looking at
No,
this list.
talk to me because
It's dire. Sweet Tooth, 1 episode after fucking 3 weeks. The Little Mermaid.
Because I heard this is getting like rave reviews. Like, I mean,
Rave?
it's probably not for us,
Rave
but
reviews.
for the people it's getting good reviews.
That's shocking. It's not very good.
Is it not?
No.
Is it just the original again?
Well, not only that, it's just like worse in every way.
Oh my God. How?
Because I'm racist. That's why. No, it's just not very good.
Well, you said it. I mean, that's
Yeah,
going to be a clip on the
it's not
Instagram.
very
Just you
good.
saying, I am.
Yeah, it's worse in every way because I'm a racist. No, it's actually just not like. First of all, the songs are like all lip synced off.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like in animation, you can draw them the way you need to draw
Yeah.
them, but like when someone records, it's just the way they record it, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like the film.
So it's just not.
It just feels a bit off every song. The main guy is such a drama queen. And
Isn't he supposed to be significantly younger than he actually is?
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
He hasn't got a great CV either. He was in Little Women, A Dog's Way Home, Postcard from London. I don't know any of these. These all
Dog's Way Home. Like did you just name that? Like
these all sound
that old time classic. A Dog's Way Home.
I just said what was there, but I hear at least Halle Berry, however you pronounce it.
Is that the main actress?
Yeah, is really good in it.
She's all right. Yeah.
She gives like a solid performance.
She's fine.
Well, I mean, good. Like at least the haters can go.
Yeah, no, like she's definitely not the worst part. She's probably one of the better parts.
Well,
they did Flounder so bad.
Oh, really?
He's just a fish. You know, like
isn't he just a fish?
No, but in the movie, like, or in the animated movie, he's like characterized. He's big. He just literally looks like your average fish.
Oh, that's
like it could be that fucking Joe Bass on the wall and it's Flounder.
That's interesting because that's kind of one of the things that a lot of people call out as the key problem with these Disney remakes, especially the animal focused ones. I mean, predominantly animal focused ones, which is most of them, in fairness. When they're trying to like cartoons, you can do big expressions and the eyes go huge and whatever, and they their mouths look like they're talking.
Yeah.
Whereas when you like the Lion King, it's a real ass looking lion.
Yeah.
How do you get that expression?
You can't.
Exactly. It's not there.
What I will say as well is the original songs, like the new ones, are just terrible.
Really? So they're not good in the
just
new one?
not good. Like, so no, the original songs are good. Like the new originals for this movie, like the ones they've added.
Oh wow! So there are more songs.
Yeah, they always do that. They take one away and add a new one. They got to do something. And it's never as good. And anyway,
I think the singing was why I don't love Disney.
There's good singing. Like the original songs, I was like, they're good. They're like,
I mean, like I like
they're
Aladdin.
really well composed songs.
Sure.
Like all the original Disney stuff. So these new ones are kind of like in between pop and like one of them's like almost like a rap.
Ugh.
It's just bad news. And then if I can just continue on this rant,
please continue.
Look, I'm all for diversity.
Sure.
And you think this is going one way, but it's not.
You're gonna zig and zag me.
Poseidon is Mexican.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, he's Hispanic. Mexican.
Yeah, of course.
One of Ariel's sisters is a redhead.
Okay.
Ariel is black. Another sister is Asian. And then like the fourth is like of indescript race. One mom, and she's died, and we don't see her. There's no woman in this world that could produce this level of diversity in a family.
Well,
the only thing they don't have is a Mexican girl, which is the only one that would make sense based off the parentage that we see.
So what you saying is to me that he's been hoeing around since she passed away.
Either Poseidon
Bit of a hoe?
is a slag. Like, either Poseidon literally fucking fucks around.
He could.
Or Disney has gone too far with the wokeness. You tell me, viewers, which one it is.
I think it's Javier Bardem. Like he
Poseidon's been dipping his pen in many inks.
Precisely.
Of varying flavors and ethnicities.
He's been wetting all of those inks.
Yeah.
Look. It's a kid's film at the end of the day. Do you think kids would like it?
I think most kids would be like, why is her sister Asian when she's black and her dad is Mexican? Like most kids would be like, this doesn't make any sense.
I don't think everyone's UDL.
It's not even me, bro. Gail looked at me and she said, what's going on? I was like, Disney. Like, I don't fucking know. And then like the last scene, dude, I kid you not, it's like all the mermaids and the normal people all together. And it's like, there's literally a mermaid for like every race. Yeah, I was like, they literally like color coded it. Like alternate color, person, skin tone. It's so,
and they're all Poseidon's daughters.
It's so obvious. No, those are just random citizens.
Okay, right.
It's a multicultural like
hectic
kingdom, I guess. But it's just funny like how much they've taken that to like a degree where it's distracting now.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Like it takes you, in my opinion.
I mean, that continuity of being a specific person's daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to nail that, right?
Maybe I'm too upset, but it just cracked me the fuck up.
I like that
because she goes like sister, and it's this redhead, and I'm like, and he's like father, and it's just like this very starkly Hispanic dude, and I just couldn't help but giggle. I was like, do you guys not know what's happened here? Your dad's a hoe.
Maybe it's like Loki. Maybe he stole them from all of the races he destroyed on his way to power.
Or just magic, I guess.
Yeah, let's just say magic. Let's do that deal.
Yeah, anyway.
I love that you're so passionate about this.
What else did you watch?
When do you get this passionate about anything?
When I'm forced to watch The Little Mermaid.
Like today's film.
Yeah.
I did a couple of other bits. I'll skip through the first one because we've talked about it very recently. Shout out again to another of our episodes, but we I was hit up by one of my friends who hadn't seen it yet and asked me if I wanted to rewatch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm clearly on a tear for Guardians at the moment, and it really held up a second time. I'm just going to say that. Like,
That's awesome.
Just as poignant. There is a great video I just watched on YouTube as well about how the first Guardians of the Galaxy ruined the MCU. If I can find it on YouTube, I'll post it with this content.
Mm-hmm.
And basically saying that like it was so different, it was so good, it was so edgy that not only did every film after that try and ape its humor, that like, every film after that could never quite live up to it. So because it was so different, it made the rest of the MCU look a bit drab and a bit bland. I like that idea. Like I'm
When
not
did it come
100%
out?
behind
What
it.
came out after it?
So it was one of the first of it's one of the first of the second phase. So I think it was like Iron Man 3 and then this, I think.
So like all the Captain Americas were before it?
No, that came out after.
Those are different.
Those are
And
different.
good. So I think there's a lot of the sci-fi space ones that just don't know what to do. They
Yeah,
all want to
not
be
at all.
Guardians. They don't know what to do.
Completely agree with
Which
that.
is like actually kind of fair because like that's what you've decided space is, right? That's the part of the MCU that came to be space. So
Yeah,
it makes
agreed.
sense that they try and kind of, but like it's just hard to do and not come off badly, I guess.
Trying to ape something, look like something else, like a bad copy of a
Or
James Gunn movie.
they're just not like it's not even just that it looks like it. It's just like the substance of the plots are just not as good as well. So
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Do you got a last one?
no, Little Mermaid and Sweet Tooth. That was my week.
I got one more for you, big guy. Don't worry about it. And you're going to like this one. So you can get into this one. So we finally finished season 1 of Yellow Jackets. Now, let me tell you what I think about this.
Let's hear it.
I actually really enjoyed it. The thing I found most interesting was the episode, I think it was episode 9. Yeah, I guess it was episode
The
9.
Shroom episode.
The Shroom trip.
Yeah, it's a great
And
episode.
I think that was the hop, skip, and a jump that we all needed. Now, when you get to the point where you see them all going a bit feral, even though it was on a trip, you're like, there it is. Now I get it. And it was so interesting seeing them trying to kill the young blood, the guy who
Travis.
Travis, and they're all
He
like
has
chasing
some
him.
fucking hilarious one-liners.
He got zinged in that episode. He gets the horny chick, and then he gets like what is happening for you, bro?
Yeah, he had quite an experience that episode.
Absolutely.
But how about the part where they're all on their periods and he's like, I'm with the blood hive or something.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. I died laughing.
I like
you
him.
and the
He's
blood hive
super
or
like
something.
yeah. I like him a lot. I was really let down by the way who felt like the main character died. I can't remember her name. She just sort of like froze, and I get it. And it was actually a really interesting subversion of
It's
all the
definitely-
expectations.
You expect something else to happen.
Completely.
Yeah.
And it felt like a letdown, but in a good way. Like I was like, oh, that's how it happens. But I was like, actually, I quite like that you changed, that you made me, you zigged and I thought you'd zig and you zagged.
Yeah. Also, like that, there's more there's more to come. I'll say
With her,
just in general that informs that finale.
interesting.
So I would just say that keep watching.
So let me preface for you what I would like this to be. So
Yeah.
this is set up, and this is just me wildly hypothesizing. This is set up as if there is some weird dark magic cult thing.
Well, they
a
play it
cult
both
thing
ways.
Yeah, okay, right. So what I would love this to be is that they lean 100, like they did with a couple of these where you think they're going to go one way and they just take you a different way. I want them to really lean into that, as into the point where you're going I can almost see the black magic here. And then at the end of the show, it turns out that it is just one or two people who have undiagnosed psychological issues of some description, and they are unchecked. So them psychological issues are allowed to roam free, and everyone else thinks because of the situation that it is black magic, so they're going along with it when really it's just unchecked issues, which I think would be fascinating and a real interesting sort of insight into how humans are sheep and how they just go along with things.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say too much because I know more than you, but I hope they keep it adequately ambiguous.
Sure.
I don't want it to be clear either way, but
I think by the end they'll have to make some things clear, surely.
you never know.
I like the ending scene of how Natalie gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was
Did you hear what they said at the end of it?
Not really. No, what do they say?
Remember there was like that chick that Natalie's like cornered at the bank. That's like she went to AA.
Yeah,
with,
yeah. And she was like,
she's
"Who you got
you
me
better
looking
go get me
into?"
this information.
Yeah.
And that chick calls, leaves a voicemail for her, and you hear
and
it in the
she's like-
background. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, who did you tell me to look up? Like,
And it's
like
the
people are
Lottie.
following
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
and they say, and who's Lottie, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's this chick that's in the
Yeah.
other timeline that you didn't know was alive.
And then at the
still.
same time, you get the flashback, and it's her. She's like leading the cult of. It's
Yeah.
like her, Misty, and another girl.
Misty's all-time character.
Okay, she's cray.
She's fucking
So
cray.
cray.
She's so funny to watch, though.
Watching her.
She's my favorite character.
Watching her kidnap in the future. The report, whatever. She's not a reporter. What is she? She's like an investigator type person, and then eventually kill her.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Creepy.
I was expecting something weird to happen. I thought maybe she'd been like seduced by her. I thought she'd like maybe changed her mind and she was actually going to tell her story.
Yeah.
Man,
Creepy.
she keeps flipping and flopping, that girl. I don't know what to do with her.
That's the fun. That's the fun part about it.
How
Her-
much does
her
the
character.
young version of that character look like the older version?
They
of that
did
character?
perfect. They did well with everyone except for Natalie.
Yeah,
But I guess the
agreed.
point is like you're supposed to like be like, wow, she has really
let herself.
done a lot of cocaine.
Yeah,
Like
I think they used cocaine in that, but I think they
do.
were edging towards that she was on harder drugs.
I mean, if you do cocaine every day, I'm sure you could look pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's like
I'm not
they're
disagreeing with
pretty
you.
hard drugs. I'm sure.
I feel like it would have been better if it was something stronger.
I'm sure that she has dabbled.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
I do like that though. Like she really looks like she's had a hard
Yeah,
paper around
for
that
sure.
girl. I think the best one outside, actually Misty's probably the best young to old. Don't love the Thaisa young to old, but
Really? I thought that one's good.
it's all right.
I thought Shauna, Thaisa, Young to Old is really
Shauna's
good.
a really good one.
And then the rest are like, yeah.
Man, I did not see
You
it
haven't
coming
seen
that
it
it was
yet.
the husband who was.
And it was pretty well telegraphed, I think, as well.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I agree.
I didn't either the first time I saw it.
I was thinking that when she went to see the other guy, the fling, I was like, it can't be him. Like there's
too
no
obvious.
Way. Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like this show thus far hasn't been this straightforward. Like she sees the glitter. She's, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the fling?
it was weird. I got where it was coming from though. Like she thought she was being betrayed, and all she knows is like she went a bit feral almost because of her instincts. So she just went and did the same thing back to what she thought he was doing.
Do you think there's anything more to him? And I say this without any knowledge.
Who? The guy she was having a fling
Yeah.
with? Maybe he was a part of it.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting if he was.
There's
actually
a
part of
theory
it.
that like I don't want to. It's like a theory that is known.
Yeah.
So and you've seen
That's
the
all
first
right.
season and it's been out, so I'll say it now if you're okay with it.
Sure.
There's a theory that he is Javi.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see. I wondered that actually.
Yeah, and and it's because of the couple of the cuts, the way they cut it.
That's the younger brother.
the younger brother of
Because
Travis.
at the end of the first season, Javi, they can't find him, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure
yeah.
what happens there.
And,
But
I mean, in the winter as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's after the big snow as well, so it's like
yeah,
Woo.
it's a little bit orcs.
yeah.
But look,
Yeah.
it got us towards the end. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I still think the episodes are too long, but that's
Come
that's
on,
a personal thing. Like, that's what it just
Oh.
seems like it goes on that 10 minutes too long.
I disagree.
Which is that's fine. I
This.
like to disagree with that because I'm excited to see how it comes next. And you say Sean Sharp's up and been in the next season.
I think it goes pretty. I actually enjoyed the first half of the last season much more than the second half.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get there.
So it gets straight into it. It's pretty good, and I think it's not as good as the first season, but it's still good television.
Well, we'll get there, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you not giving too many spoilers.
I'm doing my best.
Hey guys, what we like to do now is we like to talk a little bit about what has been happening in our geek sphere in the news. It's not really news. We usually find it on Instagram and stuff, but we call it Have You Heard? DL, have you heard this week? Speaking of Chris Hemsworth, he apparently admitted at the premiere of one of his new things that Thor 4 got too silly. Can you believe that? I think he was asked about the recent criticism from like Tarantino and Scorsese for like Marvel movies.
That's
And
not even recent. That was old.
the Tarantino one's more, but yeah, he got asked about it, and like apparently like he took that shit really seriously. Like it made him really down.
What did Tarantino say?
I can't even remember now. I think he's just the same. Like it's it's all nonsense. It's too serialized. It's ruining cinema. I think he was the point he was making because obviously Tarantino is the only person who can make cinema.
I mean, it's
And Chris
definitely not ruining cinema because whenever he puts out a movie, we all go to see it.
Yeah.
If it was ruining cinema, I'd be like, people wouldn't go to see your movies anymore.
I think it
People
would sort of saved a lot of cinemas in the end because people went back to the cinema to see Marvel movies, you know? Like, as bad as some of the new ones have been.
Yeah.
That's what was keeping the cinemas going.
Yeah, I don't agree with what his take was. But anyway, that's
Classic
funny that
Scorsese.
he took it to heart.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like the type of guy who would.
Yeah.
He's got that. I feel like he's a big personality who, like, seems to be really genuine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he's one of those few actors who can be, like, really funny and really dramatic without coming off, like, absurd.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just playing both ends.
Unless he's in Ghostbusters, which is a bad film.
He's in Ghostbusters.
The female remake one, yeah, he was.
I didn't know that.
He was like the secretary.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a good casting.
Yeah, really good casting. It's around the time he was doing like Men in Black and all that sort of stuff. So like peak attempted comedy from his end.
Did you see that the rumors around the Fantastic Four castings?
They've been talking about these for a while.
All of them, or just the
the
Adam Driver?
I knew the
one?
Margot Robbie and Adam
the
Driver.
Margot Robbie is what I was hearing.
Interesting. I've heard about. I mean, that's been around for a little while.
I didn't know that. I just saw it.
Do you like it? I feel like it's a bit too obvious.
I don't like it.
No.
I feel like it's so 90s.
It's very let's pick a big star and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think it's very 90s.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Because didn't they have Jessica Alba in the 2000s one?
Yeah, just like substitute blonde chick.
Yeah. Although saying that though, in the comics, she has a lot more agency. Like she's a real character.
No one's saying she's not. I'm just saying it's another
I'm just
blonde.
saying that it seems very like the Fantastic Four from the early 2000s where they're like, haha, hot chick, let's make a joke where she gets naked.
It's not very...
Marvel?
It's just not very, like, adventurous. Like, it's not very, like... It's pretty like, oh, I guess that's exactly what we would have expected.
I really liked Kate Mara in that role, even though that was a bad film. We've talked about it.
God, she
Fan
bugs me.
Forstic.
I didn't like her.
Really? I like her.
I only liked her in that one with
House
Kevin
of
Spacey,
Cards.
House of Cards. Yeah, she's good in that.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, she was bad in that movie because it's a bad movie. But, like, I feel as a choice of who to play that character, I thought she had potential.
Yeah,
Maybe
she's
not when...
very, like, mean.
Yeah,
she's like a mean, like most roles she's in, she's mean.
Yeah, okay, right. She's got a meanness to her. I'll give you that. Maybe I like that. Maybe that's something I'm into.
I'm not saying I'm not into it. I just don't see her like. I've never seen her play a role where like she's like a bit, because isn't that character meant to be more like charming?
It changes over the years, but yeah, absolutely. The whole good thing about the Fantastic Four is the family dynamic, right? Reed and Sue are effectively like the mom and dad, and the other two are like bickering.
Yeah, kids. I just don't see her as like a motherhood figure.
I don't see Margot Robbie, but then that's what they're both good actors. So
Margot Robbie, I could see. The other one, I just see her as a bad bitch. Like, oh, she'd be crazy, you know, like in a good way, but crazy.
Great gray.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mind it. But did you want some weird news this year?
I love weird news. I don't have any.
I want to give you a piece of weird news. It's my turn this week. We brought the weird news back, baby. All right. So, weird news this week. Speaking of old timers, Scorsese, did you hear this week that one of his favorite collaborators, Al Pacino, is having a baby? Do you know how old Al Pacino is?
He's like 80 something.
He's 82. That's too old to have a baby.
Good for him. I actually do have a weird news I saw this week.
When that baby's 10, he'll be 92. How is he going to father that baby?
God willing.
Yeah.
God willing. He'll be 92. That's
How do you
obviously
father?
an accident.
I mean,
yeah.
blood would still be pumping, so there's no accidents in that.
No, I just mean like, not the fact that he's boning, just that they weren't on birth control.
Yeah.
There's no way he wants a fucking squalling child around him at 82.
Yeah, he's got enough money to just like let someone else look after it.
Yeah, but like, that's again, like,
Squalling
you
child.
don't want that.
Brutal.
He doesn't
Imagine
want
at
that.
82, like you wake up in the middle of the night,
Yeah,
so
like,
change
that's just
nappies.
like not what he needs. Like, he doesn't need to feel like the guilt of that either. Like, oh, I'm never gonna know this kid. Like, it's an accident. I would.
Well, maybe
Don't
you
you
tell Al.
Do you think? I'm just saying, like, if you're a betting man,
I just want to see you tell Al Pacino that
I would.
your kid is
If I
an
got to meet
accident.
him, I would say, I'd be like, surely that would, you're just like, oh, I tried to pull out, but no.
Oh my god.
Surely, Al, your senses just aren't what they used to be.
The mental image of Al Pacino not pulling out is going to haunt me forever. I'm not sure that's ever going to get out of my psyche. I'm going to be lying on a psychiatrist's sofa in 20 years saying, I can just imagine his dusty old balls slapping against her.
Stop it. Now we can stop. In other weird news.
Give me two weird news.
And they both involve pregnancies.
Oh my God. What's the other one?
Did you see that for the first time in history,
No.
a crocodile has been found to have made herself pregnant.
What?
Yeah, this can happen in certain, like, I think like certain geckos and certain like let's see, let's read this news. Virgin births or parthenogenesis have been documented in birds, lizards, snakes, and fish, but never before in crocodiles until this zoo in Costa Rica had a virgin birth with a crocodile. The fetus was 99.9% genetically identical to the mother.
Is
confirming
this
it had no father.
crocodile the second coming of Jesus?
There is multiple religious cults already prophesizing that this croc is Christ cometh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Loki
I made that up. I don't
is
know.
the Christ cometh. That's interesting.
I just anticipated.
Well, look, let's get back to geeky stuff, GL. Did you hear this week? Beyond the Spiderverse, so the follow-up to the movie we talked about last week, Across the Spiderverse, has actually got a release date already, and it will be coming on the 29th of March next year. That's quick.
You reckon it's already done? It's got to be mostly done.
I reckon the script will be done. Otherwise, the writer's strike would surely push that back.
Yeah, for sure the script's done. I just meant, like, are they just waiting because they want to, like, delay the release?
Interesting. I
Like,
reckon
it's already done. They're just like, we're not going to release it.
they'll probably still be working on some of the cinematography
like
and stuff.
barely though.
I mean, you'd expect it
Like a
quite
tidbit.
far. It's quite far down the line. I don't think it's finished.
I think it's like 80%.
Saying that though, Across the Spider-Verse was supposed to come out like a year ago.
That's what I'm saying.
So maybe they've been
And
working
they're just
on the
like, fuck, we
scripts.
can't
Yeah,
release it right after. We're still getting money from people rewatching the other one.
that's very true. I mean, they definitely want to do that. Let's make as much money out as humanly possible. Saying that though, it's dropped at a hard time, like a real hard time. Like The Little Mermaid came out this week, obviously.
Let me tell you.
And then The Flash
Neon's
comes out
better than
next
that movie.
week.
Oh my God, The Little Mermaid.
So you're so angry. How can you still be this angry about
It
it?
wasn't good.
Well, anyway, DL, did you hear this week? Did you see this week? I think you did. That Captain America 4. It's got a new title, big guy. Did you hear that?
No, but let's hear it. Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie goes to
The
what
brave
new city?
The
Yeah.
brave new world.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that.
What is it actually?
That's what it's called.
A Brave New
Captain
World.
America 4, The Brave New World. And they also released a new set photo of Mackie on set with Harrison Ford, just jesting around, looking like they're having a good old
Yeah,
time.
he's just not for me.
Who? Harrison Ford?
Anthony.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've talked about this. Did you see his Twisted Metal TV show trailer thing he did?
No.
Wow, it was interesting.
Thank you for
And I mean bad.
sparing me that.
Yeah, don't watch that.
Did you also see that a lot of fans are like hypothesizing that Gwen Stacy's trans?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's interesting.
And actually, there's like a fair amount of evidence.
I don't think they're saying that she's trans. I think that her story
Alec-
represents a trans.
Some people are saying by
Oh, okay,
doing
interesting.
that, they're hinting that she's trans.
Okay, interesting.
And like her hairstyles like do change throughout the movie, don't they?
I mean, not much, but yeah, a little
I
bit.
think they do a bit. Anyway,
Gets longer.
the
Tell me about the theory then. How does the theory stem?
well, it's just because her dad. Well, she's got like a protect our trans kids flags in her room,
She does?
and her dad, once he goes through his transition, has that on his badge.
Interesting.
A flag on his badge, and the color palette when she goes through that is that same trans flag. The other side of it, it's like a very much a story about convincing your father to accept your belief in
Absolutely.
your identity, right? Which is like kind of like a pretty direct illusion, I would say.
Absolutely. I think that's great. I really like that could be something they've done here. It gives a voice to people who maybe didn't feel they had a voice in a movie, which, it does feel very hetero, very, everyone is the assigned gender. So, I'm cool for that.
But most telling, her white cop dad wears trans colors on his uniform. No fucking cop is that much of an ally unless they have a trans family member. Jeez. We are there. This community is known for their soft takes.
Of course.
Anyway.
No spiciness there.
Yeah, but I did like it.
Any final bits of news, DL?
Tom Holland has taken another break from acting. When does he
Did
act?
he do one before?
I think this is just something he announces every year, so he no longer has to act. He's like,
guys.
I don't want to act anymore, so I'm just going to continually.
Well,
I
it's
basically
interesting-
don't want to be Spider-Man, so if I just keep saying this.
The interesting part is the timing of this. So, the year would lead up to when they probably start filming that next Avengers movie. I mean, if they ever
Well, they
get to
can't.
it.
Also, because they were just about to start writing it.
But exactly. So
Spider-Man, I mean.
it's interesting. I like to think that he's kind of going, I don't really want to do Marvel films anymore. Please let me out of this contract.
It's pretty funny how he's like only done what 5.
He's done it. Yeah.
Actually, he's done more than you think because of all the Avengers.
He did 2 Avengers movies.
Barely though.
Yeah,
one was.
Well, I mean, he
barely.
was dust for one of them. I mean, he was pretty big one in Infinity War.
No, but it's the one that was like introduced him. Civil War.
Oh yeah, he had a cameo.
barely
in
in
that too.
that.
6. Okay, 6-ish. I mean, he's done his time.
I guess there's so much more to tell in his story. Though,
Oh, Spider-Man's the king. I talked about this in my recent YouTube video. Plug for our YouTube channel, Podcast Assemble. I released a YouTube video about the best cameos in Across the Spider-Verse. If you haven't seen it, guys, just go and see it. It's amazing. But my main cameo point, and I won't talk too much about what it is or who it is, but it's really hinting that this next movie could lead to a live-action Miles Morales, which ends up in the MCU. So I'd love to see that. I mean,
Would
if
him
Tom
and
Holland
Peter-
doesn't want to do it, let someone who does.
Would Peter Parker and him have like beef?
No, it'd be banter.
They'd be like mates.
Yeah,
Be like stuff. My
it's almost
stay
like
out of Queens.
It's almost like he's a mentor figure to him. So it's usually a slightly older Peter Parker in these. So I think almost you kind of need Tom Holland to age up a little bit. You'd be like, dude, stop looking so goddamn young.
And grow.
And yeah, probably grow a little bit would help as well. But yeah. Hey guys, look, if there's any news we didn't talk about, which you think we should, hit us up at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. We love when you send us memes. Tag us in them. Do what you want. Send them directly. We love it when you do.
Yeah.
DL, do you want to preface our main topic for this week?
Our main topic, to be or not to be,
It's
That's
not
the
part of
wrong
this
play.
film.
but it is the same William. All right. So this week we decided we knew there was a bunch of superhero stuff we were gonna do, so we're like, let's just chuck something weird in.
Do something heady.
Yeah, heady. Like we looked up like all of A24's films, and I literally didn't know any of them.
Interesting.
Like by name, I was scrolled, and there was like in this list there was like 50 of them, and they all had like a plus 90% on Rotten
Oh
Tomatoes.
my days.
Did you notice that list I sent you?
I didn't look at the list.
You said that
Yeah, I looked real
did.
hard at the list. I saw
You
they all had
lied
plus
to
90%.
me. You lied.
You lied.
Anyway, they're all films I did not know, except for The Tragedy of Macbeth,
Which we are going to be talking about today.
which we did say that we wanted to watch a while ago. So I was like, let's try it.
Yeah, we've given
tried
it some airtime. Do you have a super plot summary, DL?
I do. Macbeth, Black Edition.
Oh my god. The Black
How
Album.
about this? Macbeth in black.
Oh my god, the Black Album.
But it is like, it's in
different.
black and white.
It's
It's a black and white film.
Mine is a bit different. Mine is a tale about the spiraling consequences of a man's actions, which delves into the themes of violence, hate, and the inherent darkness within humanity. Oh wait, that's a synopsis for No Country for Old Men. This is obviously Macbeth. It's the same. It's the same film, just with
Is it?
Denzel Washington. It's very similar. Do you
No
want to
Country
guess?
for Old Men it's an assassin, isn't it?
Same themes, same
And he
tones,
discovers
the whole,
like
whole way through.
He discovers like a bag of money.
I'd rather talk about that film if you want to.
I
Can we
feel
talk
as
about
if-
that even though I've never seen it?
I feel as if it's very different.
Similar tones and
Temptation,
themes.
maybe.
Tones and
That's
themes.
about
They're all,
it.
I just talked to you about the tones and themes, deal. It's all there. Do you want to guess me the IMDb score for this?
Murdering a king, picking up a bag of cash, very different things. The IMDb score would be high 90s or 9s. It'd be like a 9.4.
Ah, you're way off. It's 7-1.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's
It's
shocking.
not. That's we'll talk about it. Do you want to guess within the Rotten Tomatoes score?
92.
You are bang on. It is 92.
Woo! Ding, 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 ding.
Blind nuts, squirrels, all those things. We've talked about it in the
That
past.
was 2 weeks in a row, dude.
Now I'm going to ask you if you can guess for me the Metacritic score, but can you guess for me firstly the critic score, which is a mark out of 100, and then the user score, which is a mark out of 10. I'm going to split it in half.
Metacritic?
Yeah, we always talk Metacritic, yeah.
There's 2 scores? I didn't know that.
We usually just do a combination of the two, but this week I thought this reflects more my feel, like our divide.
40 for the...
No, the critic
The
score.
critics would be high, be 87.
It is 87, like
Yeah.
absolutely bang
I
on.
think I saw it.
What about the user score?
42.
It's 7.1. So I think that
Wait,
reflects
like literally 7 out of 100.
out of 10.
Oh, okay.
That'd be fucking
I was like,
awesome.
Jesus.
Jeez, people really didn't like this movie. I think that reflects kind of the difference between us. Like you like the heady stuff, and I give
mean,
it.
like, you're not gonna get a fucking version of Macbeth that's like easy to digest. Like, you got to know that going into the movie. It's like Macbeth.
Like this is like
it's not like
full Macbeth,
unless
though.
it's like Macbeth for dummies.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's like, and that's an audiobook, not a movie.
No, I just thought it could have more of a modern take on it. This is just here's the original script. There's not a lot new about this, but all right, this
I think
is
artistically
director
there is.
Joel Coen, which is interesting because not only is this our first Coen brothers movie, but this was the first solo directorial effort by Joel Coen. And I really find that interesting because those two usually come as a package deal, and I think he wanted to go out on his own and do something a little different. This movie also received a bunch of nominations for Oscars. So Best Actor for Denzel Washington, Best Production Design, and also Best Cinematography. Now that I get behind. The
Cinematography and the production design was fucking awesome.
yeah, it's so cool. We will talk about it. But this, of course, Denzel Washington as Macbeth. We have Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth, who you know from 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I don't know her from that, but I believe that
We
she
need to
is
put
in
that
it.
on one of our lists, by the way, because I have not seen that film. Alex Hassel as Ross, who is actually translucent from The Boys. Do you remember Translucent, who gets exploded from his butt?
Yeah.
He's in this. I calling out Banquo. I didn't really know Banquo. Brendan Gleeson as Duncan. Corey Hawkins as Macduff, who you might remember from Black Klansman.
Dudley Dursley is Malcolm.
Malcolm is Dudley Dursley. And the other one I wanted to call out was Catherine Hunter as the Witches / the Old Man.
Yeah, she's good.
We're going to talk about her in a moment. But before we do, dear, it's time to bring back an old favorite. Now, we haven't done this for a little while.
Bro, I know which one you're going to show me for the IMDB picks.
We're going to talk goofy IMDb Pictures, baby. It's back. So,
But have you seen Brian Thompson before you give me your nomination? Which
Brian
I think I know
Thompson.
What it is.
Where's Brian Thompson?
Scroll down. He's one of the murderers.
He's one of the murderers. Hang on. It is fortunately not Brian Thompson.
He kind of could be.
He is from Mortal Kombat. So we've talked about him previously.
That's why his headshot is that.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So let's
Got it.
quickly introduce, before we do, the current MVP. Now, the current MVP, DL, you will remember, is from Inception. And this was Immigration Officer Mr. Alan Hale. Now, can you just quickly remind the viewers, listeners, of what that is?
He's just having a beer with a mate
With a random old dude
and a jean shirt with a tie.
in like the grainiest, worst quality
Feels like-
photo I've ever
Feels
seen
like
in my entire
a
life.
Kodiak, like
A Kodak
Kodak film,
from like the 80s.
like the
yeah,
click,
it's terrible.
click. Yeah.
It's an awful picture. No, but this though, this is a real contender. So this is the challenger, which is Susan Berger, who is Lady in Waiting. Can you explain that picture to the
Looks like
audience?
she's a contestant on Jerry Springer.
You know what she looks like? She looks like she's at one of those, you know, those pastoral things in the States where they're all like, heel, and they're like wigging out and like their eyes are rolling back in their head.
Or maybe she just like has fallen asleep, but with one eye open.
Kinda.
Like,
DL,
you know.
who do you think is the goofiest designed?
I think it's her.
You think-
There's nothing about this picture that you'd want in your IMDb.
Why would you want that in your IMDb as the
I
first
don't
picture?
know. Oh, that said Susan Berger. Maybe next time change your pick.
All right, DL. Questions before we get into this then. Do you have a connection to the play Macbeth? As in, like, did you do it in school?
Yeah, of course.
Do you
It was
have
like
any,
a summer
like-
project? We had to do like a whole journal on
We
it.
never did summer projects.
I'm pretty sure I not only didn't read it. I'm pretty sure I just basically like, what was that thing called? Shakespeare Made
Shakespeare in
Easy.
Love?
No,
Oh, yeah.
There's like a tool where it's basically like the page,
the
one page on
original
the
Chat
left
GPT.
is the original Shakespeare text. Then it's like literally translated.
Oh, perfect.
And it was like, I'm pretty sure I just read it that way.
I wish.
I felt guilty about doing it though, because it was like such a historical, like it's so famous. I was like, I should learn this.
Why?
But I was just summer and I was like trying to go party. I was like high school.
Yeah.
I was
Why
like,
wouldn't you be?
I was like, I'm not doing this.
Like, I don't want to read this nonsense.
Shakespeare Made Easy or some shit.
Well, look, this is obviously Macbeth. You know what Macbeth is, guys. I did in high school too. I didn't care for it in high school. It was nonsense then. It's nonsense now. Do you want to give me the
It's
plot?
not nonsense. It's a Scottish lord becomes convinced by a trio of witches that he will become the next king of Scotland, and his ambitious wife supports him in his plans of seizing power in a tragic tale
A tragic
of
tale.
assassination, murder, betrayal, and unrelenting pursuit of ambition.
Oh,
I made that up on the fly.
Yeah, I
You're
liked it.
welcome.
That was good. I liked that. Unrelenting pursuit of ambition. Very good. I like it. I think, look, this isn't a modern portrayal of this. Like, I came into this hoping it would be like...
dialogue-wise?
Definitely not dialogue. I mean, like, the costume design. I mean, I like the costume design, but none of it's a modern portrayal. Like, none of it's that interesting.
Well, it's meant to be set in, like, medieval Scotland. So.
The thing I really liked about this, though, and we're going to talk about it a fair amount, I think, was that it somehow seems to bridge the gap between, like, a stage play and a movie.
100%.
And I found that really fascinating.
It's super intentional, I think.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree. Like, we'll get into the reasons why in a little bit, but the fact that how it's shot, like the framing of a lot of the
is the view of like what you see
exactly.
If you were at the theater.
It's
even like each shot when it changes, it should be like a different. And the sets, like they do look big, but they also look like kind of small. For like the scope of the scene, like you don't think you're going to see something that comes from way far out. It's always blocked to the frame.
Absolutely. It kind of feels like the type of blocking you would get at a stage play, but in like a way higher budget. And I really found that interesting. Cool. And the use of black and white, like you mentioned, it's a black and white film. I think the use of black and white has really helped that and leaned into it.
Yeah.
Some of the stark contrasts in it, you knew, like your eyes were drawn to it. Rather than like, and that was the key thing for me. The whole cinematography vibe really made this for me. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Lady Macbeth. She's just got a mental illness, right? Like,
what is it? Yeah.
There's something wrong there.
Well, for sure. I mean, she just he mentions this prophecy, and she's like, yeah.
She's like,
put on the murder train.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's something going on there that's not normal.
Let's jump on and never look back.
Like nobody mentions murder, and she's immediately like
stabby, stabby, stabby. Like instant reaction. He's like, there was a witch. He's like, murder all the kings. Don't stop in Scotland. Go to England. I think Canada's got one. Like she went wild, dude. And not only that, like she tried to convince him like completely genuinely that it was like the right thing to do.
Oh yeah. Zero remorse.
I think like, because again, there was no easy reads by Shakespeare. I was just watching it.
I'm sorry. I've miscommunicated this. She's a psychopath is what she is. Yeah. There's no remorse in her. She just goes full stabby. She's like, how do we stabby this guy harder?
Yeah. And not only him, his servants.
Yeah, because she wanted to kill the servants as well, didn't she? There's something seriously wrong there.
What do you think? What do you define as a tragedy, Tommy? Why is it a tragedy of Macbeth?
The tragedy
What is
was
a tragedy?
I'll tell you what the tragedy was. The tragedy was that whomever was doing the grooming for this left their eyebrow pluckers at home. Because I don't know if you saw, I've written Banjo here. That's completely wrong. Banquo's eyebrows. What on earth are Banjo's eyebrows about?
Banjo.
He's going to be Banjo from now on. That's the joke. It's fine.
I don't know, man. I think he's you gotta love Banquo. He's
what?
He's the foil to Macbeth for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He's fine.
And Macbeth's eyebrows are pretty tame.
Pretty normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes
sense.
Good
beard though. Solid beard on Denzel in this.
And Banjo I don't think he's clean shaven, but it's not.
He's got a bit of stubble.
It's not a great beard.
He's been in
so
a war.
Maybe, it's about the same. Well, the reason I say that is because when we kick it off, we see them after a great military victory. They're jovial friends.
Absolutely.
The whole beginning is a bunch of generals after a victory, and him and Banquo, Macbeth and Banquo, are the only two that actually see the witches and their prophecy throughout the whole movie. Other than Macbeth, he's the only one that sees them. And acknowledges them. And due to that, I think he's set up to be the foil, where one sees that and reacts, continues to be loyal, continues to be, normal, puts ambition up, doesn't think twice about it. The other kind of dives into this,
Well, I mean, he's led very far astray by his stabby wife. I mean, it's tough. If he had the Banjo eyebrows, perhaps
very Adam
he'd be able to stay on track.
How they portray the woman.
Very what, sorry?
Adam and Eve, like she's the temptress.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
I think that must be one of the themes of this.
Yeah.
I just put a note here and you'll like this. This movie, it is so A24. Like
it couldn't be more.
If you could just put something on like a plinth and say, "What is this?" You'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's A24."
I liked it, man.
I'm not saying I didn't like
If
it.
I was like super stony as well, I'd have liked it more. I think it'd have been really creepy and weird.
It is a bit,
but I
creepy
probably
and weird.
wouldn't have like understood half the dialogue.
I think one of the things that really helps this is it's quite small scale. So like we talked about it having sensibilities of like a stage show or a play. The fact that it's often not more than one or two people in a shot at any time
Like
really
very few
helps
times,
it. Yeah, really helps it. So do you want to jump into performances then? Give me a little bit more about what happens in this plot and then we'll jump into performances.
So yeah, they see the three sisters. I guess they're the Fates or whatever you'd call them, witches of a kind.
Yeah.
They proclaim that he's going to be, the king, and
Thane of Cawdor.
Whatever that means.
It's yeah, I'm sure it's just like
The title of king.
Yeah, he's got I think Thane of Cawdor is like he's got. It's like being like sovereign of like a piece of an area of the UK,
Scotland.
Yeah.
And yeah, we see Macbeth struggle with this.
And the king.
This newfound kind of inception of ambition in him.
Oh, I like that. It's
He goes and he acts on it, and we follow him on this journey.
The interesting part is like he gets this and he brushes it off and he's like, this is nothing. What is this? And then he gets a message from a messenger boy who effectively tells him that the king has made him. What did I just say? The Thane of Cawdor. That's what he is.
Well, yeah, I forgot about that.
And all of a sudden he starts going, well, if they got that right, maybe they got everything else right.
Fate, coincidence.
And he sort of brushed it off again, and then he sends a message to his wife saying, hey, guess what? I had some good news today. And his wife texts back immediately, been like, go stab him.
Doesn't she like read the letter and she's like burning it and already like planning massive murders?
Psychopath.
Like just instantly after reading I got a promotion. Great, kill the CEO. You know what I mean? It's like I know what'll get you hired. Just murder the CEO.
We should try and remake this in the like the office setting.
The context of like an office.
Like imagine like Dwight gets a promotion and his girlfriend's immediate like response is kill the CEO.
Yeah, like fucking poisonous coffee.
Exactly, it's nuts.
Yeah.
For the performances though, like I really wanted to call out Catherine Hunter, who is who is the witches. She puts in this like nuts performance of like.
She kind of sounds like me right now.
Yeah, she sounds a little bit
voice.
like Phoebe from Friends when she's got a cold. But she has this great tonal diversity to her in her performance where she actually plays all three witches at once. It's almost like a split personality at one stage. She's talking to herself. She's concocting this idea to incept into Macbeth's head. I really like that idea of incepting. She kind of did. Yeah. And she plays all the sisters at once. And then there's shots where you almost see like her shadows, who are the other witches.
Other three versions of herself.
And she has a great physicality to her. Like the way she's moving is almost like a contortionist.
Yeah.
It's got like another otherworldliness to it that is fascinating.
Creepy.
And she's she's also a Harry Potter actress, by the way.
She's Mrs. Fig.
She's Mrs. Fig. I didn't think Mrs. Fig was that flexible. No wonder Harry wants to go there every summer.
Gross.
He didn't
want to go there.
He's a grown boy.
Didn't he hate going there?
He said he hated going there, but I think deep down he's like, she's so flexible.
He hated everything about Dursley Lane or whatever.
So you thought you Privet Drive. You liked the performance of the witches.
I thought there wasn't a bad performance in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Other than maybe Dudley Dursley.
Interesting. I didn't love him in this.
Yeah, he just wasn't really much, was he? He wasn't very valiant. He wasn't very. But I guess his face kind of fits the setting.
How did you feel? A little bit inbred. How did you feel? Yeah, he's a little bit that.
Looks a little bit inbred, noble blood.
Who did we say recently is the perfect actor to play an inbred role? Matt Smith. Maybe they're brothers. Or maybe they're
whatever. There's something.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak on such
Maybe they're
things.
brother fathers.
It's not for me to say.
This is taking some weird turns already.
In the depths of Bogan, England. But.
Wowza. I really wanted to call out that as much as I really, 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 really like Brendan Gleeson, this felt really phoned into me. He just wasn't present.
Like barely in it.
Yeah, and he
got murdered. That was it.
He just kind of goes like, yeah, right, let's go back to the tent. Yeah, right, this is a really nice house. All right,
Dude,
I'm dying.
I think he had like 4 lines.
I didn't love his performance
Yeah,
in
but
this.
whatever. Like that's not what I meant.
He's
by
just
good
a real
performances.
highlight for me. Like I
It was
really
like,
like
it
him.
was everything else. The people that had more than 4 lines.
I did love Macduff in this. I thought he was really great.
Hey, McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck.
That's what I have him.
Scrooge McDuck in this. Wow, we've got some real fun spelling errors here.
Duncan.
Got
Who's
bang
Ross. Like I did. Can I quickly ask?
from Friends.
Yes. No. The main guy that you said
I just mentioned this. He is
translucent
in The Boys.
But what is his actual role in this? I'd never understood his character or whose side he was on.
Macbeth shoves a load of C4 up his ass and explodes him.
No.
I don't actually know.
Don't you remember? Like he's like with Macbeth the whole time. He helps the murder of Banquo.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I get what you mean. He's like a
And then all of a
he's
sudden
like
he,
a
like,
messenger
switches.
boy. Yeah, what's his go?
Then he like tells them about the murder of McDuck's family.
Scrooge McDuck's family. Yeah. He's almost a bit like
Plays both sides, doesn't he?
Yeah, he feels a bit like almost like one of the witches people. So I feel like he's always in the ears of people trying to push them towards certain things.
Yeah, just
Unless it's just he's like aspiring for power himself.
in the court, just kind of stirring the pot, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I like that character, and
So did I, but I
I
was just a bit confused as
Yeah.
to like what was his play there.
I gotta say literally the best performance on this is definitely Banjo's eyebrows. It's almost like he's peacocking in this. Constant peacocking from the eyebrows. If you could do the rocks like people's eyebrow,
I mean, he's got to furrow brows when
it's a solid set of
everyone's
eyebrows.
trying to murder.
Best
everyone.
performance in the movie.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
I would say that Denzel and Lady Macbeth and Macbeth are the two best performances for screen time.
I didn't love Lady Macbeth in this. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? She was so
Yeah.
creepy at the end when she
She was
mad.
so creepy. That was
she did
so
great, I thought.
I'm not going to lie to you. I did make a joke on the podcast with Perry on the Superhero Cinephiles podcast.
Yes.
The best way to watch Thor Love and Thunder is to watch it while playing Zelda. And I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
With about 40 minutes left of this, I started playing Zelda.
That's definitely not the way to watch this movie.
I was waiting.
It's hard enough to fucking.
I was in it
understand
for the action scenes. I know the
There was only like
story.
2.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't watch this movie while playing Zelda. It is hard enough to watch this movie just watching this movie with subtitles on.
I did it in high school. I get the plot. I know what's going to happen. I was like, I didn't love it.
But you didn't watch it.
I did. I was.
You
I was.
didn't watch it.
I was
You just
50-50, man. Let's talk about the pacing then. What do you reckon about the pacing?
Yada
of
yada
this?
yada yada.
Yeah, I'm moving you on.
The pacing
He basically kills the king.
pretty quick, actually.
You thought it was like nearly 2 hours.
Didn't feel like it.
Really did. It was nearly 2 hours.
He murders them pretty quickly.
He gets the murder in so early in
And
this.
then it's like he's mad, and it's like when he straight goes into madness and seeing hallucinations, I'm just kind of like, I was in it.
I really enjoyed.
It slowed down at the end for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I feel like the bit in the middle where it sees a raven and he believes it's Banquo, who's just been murdered, was so good, so well
that's what I'm
acted by
saying.
Denzel.
That whole like boom boom boom. It was pretty. The first half or 3/4 was pretty intense, and then like it gets to that point where like, they're killing the family and all that stuff, and I was like, ugh, this is
Felt really
a
unnecessary.
bit dark.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if this was like Shakespeare's breakup record. Maybe he had a really bad breakup and he's getting all his feelings out on the page.
He just took it all out on Macbeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Sad.
There's like a really funny story that when Temple of Doom was being made, both George Lucas and Spielberg were going through divorces at the time, so that's why there's so many like derogatory comments to women and like
Really?
like Indy's a dick to the woman all the time in it. I'm like,
He
oh my
really
god,
was, to be fair.
yeah. In Temple of Doom, he is a douchebag. I felt like it certainly slowed down towards the end, but like in not a way that hindered the storytelling. I felt like
No, same.
that was a bit I wanted to focus on, you know what I mean? Like I'm happy for them to fly through the bit where Macduff's been shanked, you know?
I do think that like
Sorry, not Macduff, Banjo.
I love a Macduff shanking, frankly.
He's the one who won.
I know, but I thought he was going to get shanked. I do frankly think that it was a well-paced movie.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it might have been long, but like considering how long it could have felt,
Yeah.
like I just spent 3 weeks trying to get through an episode of Sweet Tooth. This is literally a black and white film that takes dialogue directly from the play.
I think the dialogue was a bit that really turned me off.
I enjoyed it.
Well, let's talk about the black and white and the cinematography and world building. Then we kind of touched on it already, but I think they clearly went to painstaking lengths to make this feel like sparse to begin with. A lot of the
very
shots,
sharp.
yeah,
Very like just deliberate.
100%.
Like, that's the way I would describe it. Yeah.
I think the contrasts you get in this are really interesting. I think the super minimalist black and white make real extremes within this, and I think they play on that a little bit. Certainly in the scene I mentioned a moment ago with Banquo and the raven, when Banquo's dead and he sees a raven and believes it's him. The starkness of parts of that shot, for example, versus him having this mad freak out, Denzel, who's great in that as well. I know I just said that. I think that the light and the angles it uses emphasize parts of the scene so subtly but so starkly. I really like that.
Nice. Yeah. I just think that the way that it's set up, it's like, it just feels really intentional and meant to invoke the original play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we've talked about it a bit, but but it's also unique in that like it's not like a play. It's like they're towering up. Like it's really small, but then it like goes for eons up instead of being wide. Yeah, and it's just like, oh, that's an interesting choice. Like, why is this so narrow? Like it just feels narrow a lot of the time.
You think they use verticality instead? Yeah, that's interesting.
Which is like, I guess similar to plays as well. Like you'll see sets go up above the sphere of your view.
Interesting, because it was very narrow in terms of like the shooting of it. It was certainly not like almost like a Nolan film. Yeah, I like the point that this whole movie effectively was shot on a soundstage. So like everything that was there was built, except
you could tell.
Yeah, except for some elements like in the last shots of the movie, like most of it was all like an interior, and you can tell like it does feel kind of closet. Not closet's the wrong word. Sorry, it feels very close, like claustrophobic, even when you're outside. It's got a real good vibe to it.
I love this set's outside, like that one crossroad.
Yeah, even though you can tell that's a soundstage, it still looks incredible.
That was cool.
And I feel like the way they do it, I can almost imagine. So the way that scene works, this is effectively where Banquo dies.
Yes.
Banjo dies. Sorry, it's Banjo. I apologize.
It's not Banjo.
What happens is effectively like you get this scene where there's a bit of a discussion between a few characters. They're all saying, "Yeah, it's gonna happen now. We're gonna kill him." Banjo arrives. They stab him, and then his son runs off into the cornfield. I think it's a cornfield. Looks like a cornfield.
Then he just lays down.
That was weird.
Why did he do that?
I mean, he didn't zig or zag. He just sort of went
or crawl.
He just went silent.
He just trust fell.
I like when it pulls around and you see him like panicking, hiding behind the wall. I can imagine like a really clever stage play of this, having a wall which they bring around so that you get the second angle of it and see him panicking there. The lying down, I don't know what the fuck.
Doesn't really make sense. Not a sound strategy.
Really, really odd. I mean, at least Rickon ran in a direction.
He didn't zigzag, but he did run.
He ran.
He tried. He did his best.
He did something. Well, anyway, so what happens then is Macbeth starts to be terrified of all of his subjects.
Yep.
So he murders Scrooge McDuck's family, right down to the children, which is really
Scroogey,
glowing indictment of his mental health in that exact moment.
He's gone murder
and
spree.
The descent of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth into paranoia and just their mental health unraveling plays out so interestingly. I really like it.
Yeah, it's good.
And as they get more distant from each other, the worse they get, it seems.
To the fourth act, they've gone fucking crazy.
Oh, big time. She's full. I mean, like we talked about this. She's a psychopath anyway.
Yeah, but before she was like a psychopath with like the exterior of a normal person.
Yeah.
Even like the first two acts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say the third act as well. She's like trying to keep it hidden that he's going mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
But by the fourth, man.
Both of them.
She's walking
Gotta
around,
wash them hands.
Like washing her hands all the time, yelling aloud about the murders they've done. Like
she go nuts.
Yeah.
And she sleepwalks as well, which I find terrifying.
With the candle.
Yeah. Well,
sounds like a fire hazard.
Before we move on from like the cinematography world building piece, I really like how they use the environments in this because they're like we've talked about. It's a small set. One of the key parts of the play is Macbeth seeing a vision of a knife and going, "Oh,
Yeah.
this must be how I killed the king."
Yeah, that was cool.
And
At the end of the hallway.
Yeah, they used like a door handle almost. And I mean, you'd think like that was his house. You'd think he knew that was his door handle.
Macbeth is he just crazy?
I think at this point he's
Do we
losing
just
it.
that was
himself.
early.
Yeah, this is
Do we just think
pre-murder.
do we just think he's just lost the plot?
I think his wife's in his head, and I think the witches are in his head, and he's so not sure of himself for the first time in his life. He's not sure what's real and what's not.
I think he's lost the plot. I think he just
he's losing it, man.
he's kind of just a bit crazy.
Let's talk about action then, because we're sort of we are jumping around in this. I mean, everyone knows the plot of Macbeth, but let's talk a little bit about the murder of the king, which I actually quite like. That's quite a psycho move from old mate.
Just sitting at his bedside.
Yeah, just like giving him the shush finger and then like shanking his, like cutting his throat.
Like literally covering his mouth and
Yeah.
shanking him literally in the throat.
Zero fucks given. Like, it gives me chills, but like I don't feel like Brendan Gleeson really dove into that scene. I feel like he was like, I'm gonna die, I'm just gonna give it half-assed. But
I don't think that's the case, but you're entitled to your opinion.
it's how I feel. I think the action in this, specifically the way they've built the sets and they build the action, like this scene I'm talking about, or later action scenes where Macduff and Macbeth eventually meet. Scrooge McDuck, sorry, eventually meet.
Naturally.
Like, it's made, it feels made, and this isn't a jab at him, but for like an older gent. Like, it's small scale. You don't see any big battles. It like the fight with Scrooge McDuck's on a battlement, so like it's not a huge space for him to be like doing huge sword swings and
I mean, it's
going
not an
crazy.
action movie, man. It's
No, it's not
It's very clearly targeted for a particular type of viewer. I'd say.
completely. And I think they nailed the action within that framework.
Yeah, it was good. It's a bit visceral.
Visceral, I love that. Tell me more.
There's only like 2 action scenes. There's the one where he just bitch slaps that one guy.
Yeah, that's so
Who is
good.
that guy?
He's a
He just
nobody.
showed up and was like angry. I was like, I don't think I've seen you this whole
I'm
movie.
gonna kill you.
Yeah, he's like, have you been born by a mother? He's like, yeah, I won't die then.
Oh, I like that. I love
That
the
was cool.
confidence.
We didn't really
that
talk
gives
about the
him.
prophecy at all, but
Talk about the prophecy.
the prophecy like flows through this whole film, and like he goes and speaks with the devil, I guess, again. So he actually has another vision with the 3 witches where they like talk to him, and it's really crazy and
It's like
hallucinogenic.
it's really trippy.
And they talk about how the person that's going to take over, that will take from him now that he's killed Banquo,
Yeah,
will be this other guy,
Banjo.
or Banjo, but he will not be killed by anyone who is birthed from a woman. So like this one guy comes to just challenge him randomly, and he's like, "Were you birthed by a woman or something?"
He's like,
I don't remember what he said, but he basically asked. And the guy's like, "What the fuck are you on about?"
it's like backhand.
And he's like, "No, yeah, like I mean, wasn't burned by a dude, like so what do you mean?" And then
like, what a
Macbeth,
dumb
with utter
question.
confidence, just like stands up without a sword and's like, "I won't be killed by ye,"
Amazing,
and bitch slaps him.
amazing, great scene.
And eventually, actually, it was pretty cool how he shanks him with the knife.
Yeah, he like full like that's the one real action-y scene you get. in this.
Yeah.
I really like that. Like
Yeah, it was
made for Denzel, but then he's faced by his foe, ultimate foe, not Scrooge McDuck, Macduff, who I really liked in this. I thought he was a really good foil.
Yeah, and his scene when his family dies like was pretty emotive. Like he played it really
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
When he hears about his family dying, and
Oh, you mean Macbeth murking them all?
yeah, well, not even like sending
Out of
his men
paranoia,
to, I thought it was. I thought he was really good. I thought it was funny again. Like this birthing sequence, he does the same thing. Like 10 minutes later,
He's like, "How were you born?"
and it's like, but ye were not born by man or some shit.
I was fascinated when I first read this book. This was the only bit that really captured me in my original read through.
But was it? It's just because he was like
well, it was like
a C-section.
it was the original sort of C-section.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, the first time I read this book was a time when I was really
Seems like semantics though. That's still a woman.
oh massively. It's still from a woman, but
Yeah.
that's I mean,
Still a womb.
it came to me, and I was watching this about a similar time that I was really digging the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves movie, where if you remember in that, I think it's Maid Marian's pregnant at one point and she can't get the baby out, or maybe I can't remember who it is, but they like Morgan Freeman's character does effectively like a C-section on the
Jesus
woman.
Christ.
And it's like, when I was that made my imagination just go wild, thinking about like, oh, imagine, like, even back when I was young, which is a fucking long time ago, like, hospitals, everything was, sterile, everything was beautiful and nice. Whereas back then, could you imagine? Dude whips out a knife and is like, I got this. Like, the whole thing is like a problem.
Yeah, I mean, no, you die.
Immediately gonna die.
Very dead.
But like, so he meets his foe Banquo on the battlefield, who is like, semantics, bitch. I'm not really born of a woman. I was a C-section, and then he beheads Macbeth.
Yeah, it was pretty cool how he beheads him.
I liked it too.
Crown flies into the fog.
It was a cool scene when he was walking back with just a
Macbeth's
Denzel
head.
Washington head.
In the crown.
I really liked that. I thought, like, someone's probably got that. Someone probably took that back from the set. That's really good.
Creepy.
Yeah, a bit creepy. It's a bit like when they had the George Bush head in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Someone's just got it in a set somewhere.
That is true. There was just a random bush head. Didn't they have to apologize for that?
Yeah, they did. They took it out for a while, but it's back in now.
That's funny.
Well, let's talk tones and themes, DL. What were the ones that really jumped out at you? What I'd love to think of here is, like, as an adult, what are the things that really got you? Like, I mean, I hate to tell you, DL, you're an adult now. Like, you hit that big 3-0.
No way. Look, there's a bunch of stuff around, like, fates and, like, living with, and, like, guilt and what it will do to you. There's a bunch of stuff around fate and guilt and what it'll do to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the cooler one is, like, the corrupting nature of, like, unchecked ambition,
Corruption of power.
and just, like, the, like, untapped, like, unrestricted ambition is actually very unhealthy, and
Yeah, absolutely.
really just pursuing your deepest desires and what that can do to you.
I do like the fate versus free will
Deepest,
elements
darkest.
of this. Like,
Yeah.
Macbeth could have just chosen to not tell his psycho wife, and he could have just been like, yeah, right, I'll just carry on with life.
Yeah, it would have been a good life.
But he couldn't not tell her. And then fate takes over. Because, like, after that point, it feels like he doesn't have free will. She's always going to push him to do it. And if he doesn't do it, maybe she'll do it. It's like...
I just, it's a tragedy, right? It's sad to see.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah.
I told you, Bill Macbeth, he's going through his divorce. This is his divorce play. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's a lot. I mean, like, we did this in school. There's
Fate.
1,000. Yeah, there's 1,000 different ones.
Guilt.
Appearance versus reality,
Power.
ambition and its consequences. Like, it's a deep ass movie, and it brings a lot of those sensibilities that. And you know what? Actually, if I'd have watched this in high school, I think I'd have been cool with it. I think that just reading it in high school and some of the crap version we watched.
I think
from,
we
like,
had to watch
98,
like one of the old ones too.
the dire
It was
ones.
bad, yeah.
So it's funnily enough, there is one with Jude Law in it. Wow, that looks bad.
Does it?
Yeah, it looks real bad.
Oh man.
It's back when he was younger but looked older somehow than he does now. I think it's
How
the
often
hairline.
how often do they redo this? Like
I don't
every
know.
5 years or something?
But they did it with Fassbender, didn't they?
Yeah, in 2015.
Yeah, so maybe they do it every 5 years. Maybe they're like, break a leg.
Yeah.
Look, then, let's jump into 3 best and 3 worst. What we like to do is we like to give you 3 reasons why you might want to watch this movie, 3 reasons why you might not. What are your 3 best, DL?
Simple, direct, sharp, just both in like language, acting, the sets, the cinematography, all that. The haunting.
Wait, is that all one or is that?
That's one.
Okay, cool.
Haunting acting and haunting like just tone.
Yeah, the atmosphere is very...
Yeah. It's very haunting.
Haunty.
Yeah, haunty. And then, sets in the cinematography are like, they pair with that kind of tone really well. And we talked a bit about it, but it's almost like a movie and a play in a movie.
I like that you're getting deeper and deeper as we're talking.
Can't really keep, my voice is getting worse and worse.
No,
as
I
this
agree.
pod
I
goes.
agree with all those. I think the cinematography for me is just like, it's obvious. It's the one thing that really grasps you as you look at this film. Like, even watching, I mean, we talked about doing this because of the trailers and because of how
Trailers are really
stark
good.
it looked. Yeah, absolutely. Very A24. We've talked about A24 and trailers and subverting your expectations before, but I think this one it's Macbeth. It looks sick. Here's how good it looks.
Yeah.
The witches, they were a favorite of mine. I thought that whole performance, especially the first time you meet that set of characters, whatever it is, just like it's the haunting you were talking about.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
The way she moves, the way that it's almost split personality is great.
Tone, yeah, all of it.
And I also really liked, and we have kind of talked on this, but like how small it feels, but at the same time feels quite grand. I think they really got a balance right there that seems really difficult to,
Fair enough.
weigh out.
I think I agree with you. I don't know. It's like this juxtaposition of small and like endless.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, agreed. What are your worsts?
It's legit Shakespeare. Like,
That's your worst?
I'm just saying, like, it's not my worst, but it's somebody's worst. Like, if you're going to this movie expecting like normal dialogue, like the entire movie is Shakespearean sonnets.
My first one is, who is this for?
Like fanatics and
How many people nowadays really fanatics for William Shakespeare? Really?
no, there's just like not fanatics for Shakespeare, but fanatics of art.
Okay.
Like that, like don't want something that's super easy to process.
Sure.
Like that want to have to pay attention and not play Zelda while they watch.
I've done a good job. Like I watched half of it at least. I was halfway in it. Yeah, go on. What else?
No, I think that's all I have.
Okay.
I don't know what else to do. Say.
I did say I
Kinda-
didn't love Brendan Gleeson in this. I know
God,
called out
will you
before.
shut up about
I love Brendan
Give him
Gleeson.
a break, bro.
I think he's a
literally
great
had 4
actor.
lines.
He just phoned it in.
But even so, it's like not like it affected anything other than the first 5 minutes of the movie.
And that's the only bit it really got me. And the last one I said was just, someone's got to pluck them eyebrows. Like, Banjo, bro, come on.
Let the man be free.
Let the man be free. All right, DL, what we like to do now is we give you our rating system, DL. Do you want to explain our rating system?
Aquaman 2018, not to be confused with the Aquaman decades before.
Entourage?
Yes.
Vinny Chase?
The Aquaman, is it better or worse than Aquaman, which is what we call the most average,
I would say so.
mediocre, middle of the line, mid-level movie?
I was speaking to someone just the other day.
Yeah.
In real life. Doesn't know that we do this. No idea. And we were talking about superhero movies, right? And I quickly realized that he is in a similar cycle lane to Lady Macbeth.
Yeah.
He was telling me how much he really, really liked Aquaman 2018. And something just clicked in my head and I was like, I don't think I can be friends with you.
But he likes both of the
He
movies?
loves Aquaman 2018.
Oh, I thought
He
you said
thought it was great.
Okay.
I was like,
Great.
you're a psycho. We don't do 3 crowns out of 5 crowns. We don't do 4 stabs out of 5.
Four
What we
fingers
do is
out of
we
5.
just say better or worse than this really average movie. DL, what do you think?
I mean, you don't see witches regurgitating fingers
Oh,
in
wow, no.
Aquaman.
I mean, you might.
No.
There's a lot going on in that film that I don't always
I
pay
think
attention
that this
to.
is better
Okay,
than Aquaman.
good on you, mate. I am going to have to disagree, unfortunately, and say, from my perspective, it just gave me Vietnam flashbacks of high school. I was like,
Acting alone makes it better. The acting alone and
Yeah.
like the uniqueness of the design and cinematography.
I just think this one time, I want to disagree with you.
You're allowed to do what you will.
It is. It's
Blame it
amazing.
on Gleason.
It's an amazingly thought out, interestingly made movie. I just don't love Shakespeare. I'm sorry. It's just not for me. So, what we like to do now, before we wrap up, is a little bit of true or false trivia.
Do it to it.
DL, true or false? Shooting for this film only took 70 days. Is that true or is that false?
Feels like that could be true.
Well, it's actually 36 days.
Wow.
That is unreal. Most of the film was completed after the start of COVID. So you can imagine why they're on a soundstage the whole time. Like most films that were created at that time. Look at Black Widow. That looks shit as well.
Yeah.
Actually, no, this looks way better than that.
They couldn't do like patch it up with CGI though, which is impressive.
DL, true or false? The black actors in this movie are all American. Is that true or is that false?
True.
It is true, and it's going against the common practice of Shakespeare. Productions often prefer British actors. No shit. Interestingly, especially while casting black actors. So, like, I like that they've at least gone a little bit against the grain.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, this is the perfect amount of diversity, unlike The Little Mermaid.
Unlike The Little Mermaid. Finally, TL, before you get too angry about Little Mermaid again. True or false? Trivia. 5 actors in this film also appear in the Harry Potter movies. Is that true or is that false?
5. 1, 2. I can only think of 2.
Wow, who can you think of?
Who else is in it?
Well, who you got? Hit me.
What is the main? Literally, the witches.
Yep.
Gleason.
Yep.
Who else?
You've already mentioned one.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
The witches. That's one.
The witches, Gleason. You've mentioned another.
Who?
Come on, man. You said his face looks like he's in bread.
He's in bread. Oh, inbred. That Dudley. Duh.
Yeah, Dudley.
3. I can't think of any others, so I'm gonna say false.
All right, you're right for the wrong reason. It's actually 4. So there is Harry Melling, who we mentioned, Dudley Dursley, Catherine Hunter, Brendan Gleeson, and Ralph Inson. So you remember Ralph Inson, who was actually a big part of the Green Knight. He was actually the Green Knight in that film, who appears in The Deathly Hallows as one of the twins or brother sister who are psychopaths.
Which ones are in the Deathly Hallows that are twin psychopaths? Oh, you mean from at the school?
Yes, correct. As Amicus Caro.
Yeah.
So
Would have never guessed.
you were right for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Well done, DL. Ultimately, I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie, but I know you loved it, and that's what matters.
I didn't love it. I just appreciated it for what it is. It made me think more than Aquaman does, which I appreciate when I watch a film.
And I like when we have debate and discussions rather than just liking the same things.
Yes, that's always good. It's always good. If you do like this podcast, give us a 5-star review. Even if we have opposing views, it's sometimes fun to debate it out, and we love when you kind of show us what you think. Give us your correspondence. Give us your bad stuff. Your
Where can they find us?
They could find us at thepodcastassemble@gmail.com or podcastassemble on Instagram.
2 weeks in a row.
I know.
I feel like I need a bell to ring. It's like ding, 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 ding,
ding.
Just like friend of the show Mark did. Now, friend of the show Mark is a new listener. Thank you, friend of the show Mark. We really appreciate it. Welcome. When you get to this, he said he's catching up on our old episodes before coming in and listening to some of the new ones. And he said in some of our older episodes, he wants to know if we're still taking recommendations for TV shows and movies. We haven't done that for a little while, but we will take them. We appreciate it regardless. He recommends watching a great Aussie TV show called Mr. In Between. Have either of us seen it?
No.
He did send a link to a clip from it. It's an older gen who is terrorizing a couple of youths because they're hoodlums and they're out on the streets being little shits. And you know what? I'm probably not going to watch it, but I'm glad that you sent it in. Thank you, friend of the show, Mark.
I'm looking at it. 2008 TV series. The guy looks kind of funny. The main guy. Not going to lie. He's got a funny face.
Is it a bald guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the show.
Yeah.
That's a clip I saw.
It looks funny. 8.6 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, maybe we'll get around to it.
All right. FX. Yeah. Maybe worth a look.
Thank you, friend of the show, Mark. We really appreciate it. And finally, friend of the show, Captain Danger. It's an interesting handle. Messaged us and said, awesome review of the Across the Spiderverse movie, guys. He believes it is the best comic book film ever. Do we agree with that? And who, he asks, was our favorite cameo? DL?
No. I don't.
Well, what is?
It's got to be like Infinity War, or I actually really like the recent Spider-Man.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what the best comic book movie ever is, though, but it's hard to say that
I think it was Blade 3.
It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah.
Do you really?
No, absolutely not. Who's your favorite? Before we finish, who was your favorite cameo?
There's so many.
Yeah, there were a lot.
I think the punk rock Spider-Man.
Yeah, you really like that one.
He's funny.
Friend of the show, Captain Danger, says his favorite was Peter Parked Car. Now, that was a really blink and you'll miss it moment.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Straight from the comics.
I reckon maybe the Web Slinger is my favorite.
That was the
Western guys. What about you? What was your favorite cameo?
Oh, you've really got me here. Obviously, I really liked Spider-Rex, the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Thought you were gonna say that.
Of course I did. Of course I liked that one.
Yeah.
I really liked the real deep cut of the Spider-Man Lego universe. So that had a lot of interesting things about it. So interestingly, that was effectively like a young kid on YouTube who just created scenes from different comic book movies, and they asked him to do this for it, which is really awesome. But the deeper cut for that, the Peter Parker in that universe, is voiced by the guy Yuri Lowenthal, who does the Spider-Man video game for PlayStation. So it's just so deep.
There's too many.
It's the deep burn.
Inception.
Go and check out the YouTube video on it. It's about all the best cameos within there. Not until you've seen the movie, though.
Yes.
Thank you guys for sticking with it. We really appreciate it.
We do. We really do. Until next time, man. Laters, Gators, Thomas.
Tally ho, dear.
Later.